Now, speaking on Prime Morning on Joy Prime Television, Executive Director of the NPP's think tank, Dankwa Institute, Richard Ahiagbah, said the manifesto will address issues central to the need of the Ghanaian as the party builds on the gains made in the past 4 years.
If they had built enough schools, which is what they are claiming, would we have done double track? No. So the question is not doing something to point to that, oh, we have built 43. It's about making strategic investment. If the economy was good under them, they would have achieved the building of that. So first of all, is the economy.
It's still more than what you have done from what they claim.
No, because they've bastardized the economy. How do you build infrastructure if you don't have money? You build infrastructure with money. You can do this with the economy. The question we must ask the NDC is that how did you build the so-called infrastructure you're talking about if the economy is showing that the economy is showing poor? And that's one of the things, even dealing with all this infrastructure talk they want to have. Are we going to go there and talk about the Kanazoe Road? He did in excess of 25 million, and he stood there and commissioned that road, and he said that is the best quality work that has been done in this country. You drive on that road today and see what is happening there.
Is that an admission that the NDC did more infrastructure, but they did it to collapse the economy?
I just told you that they've done the road, which he stood there and said is the best road in the country. Okay. You drive on that road and it's not right. The point I made to you was this. You talk about the economy, okay, before you can talk about infrastructure. It's a disjoint to say, let's talk about infrastructure. How do you build infrastructure? Your infrastructure track record must be linked to a strong economy. Okay. You cannot show an economy, so if you tell me you build infrastructure, I don't believe you.
Finally, what should we expect from the manifesto tomorrow?
It's going to be a very nice ceremony, and I think that it would be something that meets the needs of the time and gives Ghanaians a future to hope for.
What are those needs you've identified?
Clearly what has been done. What the needs of the country now is we need to build a strong economy. We need to create opportunity for our youth to get employment, and we need to ensure that we are investing and educating our people to be ready for 21st century challenges, and especially to prepare our workforce to be able to respond to the continental free trade area.
What of COVID-19? Is there something in there?
I think that what you find in relation to COVID-19 is strategic investment in our health sector to ensure future preparedness.
Now, as your election headquarters, we will be there live to bring you all the previews and analysis on the event. Joining us from Cape Coast is Richard Kojonyako to tell us a bit more about the preparations. Now, how is the Central Region, Richard, preparing to receive delegates from across the country in the National Council tomorrow?
Also, Cape Coast, the event venue is very, very busy. The colors of the MPP are dominant. They are visible everywhere. Streets are clothed with the flag. And then every single space has been occupied. In fact, the event venue, the new examination center is being put in place. And I'm told that by 3 o'clock, they would be done setting the things up. And then later this evening, the manifesto would be handed over or presented to the National Council for their perusal before tomorrow it will be presented publicly. And so that is the preparation. But on security, every place you go, even though the event is yet to start, you see security personnel stationed at one place or the other, ensuring that everything is in place. Now we are getting the indication that this is only a virtual launch. And so if you do not matter in the scheme of affairs as far as the launch of the manifesto is concerned and you have not been invited, you have no business coming here, because the national executive have set up some places, and then it will be streaming live as well. And so they can watch them from their various destinations. There is no need for anybody to come here. This is to observe the social distancing protocol and other protocols with respect to COVID-19. So that is how things are shaping up as far as the preparations are on the ground.
Now, the choice of the Central Region, Richard, was not for nothing. Of course, the Central Region is a key decision maker when it comes to elections in Ghana, and the NDC's vice presidential candidate comes from there. How are the people responding to this event that will take place there tomorrow? Is it seen as pivotal for the Central Region residents?
Yes, sure. Both parties are interested, and they are interested keenly. At one point, the NDC had dominated in the seat in Parliament, but presently the MPP has 19 seats against the NDC that has 4 seats in the central region. And so key issues are emerging, issues from the fishing sector, the transshipment of fish at sea, right to the premix, your general infrastructure. People make the point in Cape Coast that, well, Cape Coast is the ancient capital in Ghana, but there is nothing really to show for it. So they expect that these issues would be part of the manifesto that will be launched so they can see their way on tourism and other related issues. They are also expecting. Just a short while ago, the president was asked the question about the Commander Sugar Factory and then the demand by some residents of Cape Coast of an airport. On the airport, the president says that they won't go about setting up infrastructure just for setting them sick. They will subject them to some feasibility studies because there's an airport in Takoradi, there's an airport in Accra, and so Cape Coast is just some few minutes drive away from Accra and Takoradi, and so they will just, the Ministry of Aviation would consider that, and if there is a need for them to be given an airport, they will do. On the Commander Sugar Factory, the president typed on the reason why his government has not been able to officialize the Commander Sugar Factory. He says that they want to ensure that proper things are put in place before they touch it. And so that is why they started, and then they will work, and very soon it shall be manifest for everybody.
Richard, thank you very much for those updates from the President's tour, as well as updates on preparations for the Manifesto launch on Saturday. Now, NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama is currently touring the Volta region. We'll bring you updates on that very shortly. But before that, founding president of IMANI Africa, Franklin Cudjoe, has described the NPP's refusal to debate former President Mahama on infrastructure as ill-advised. He believes President Akufo-Addo is capable of debating Mr. Mahama and should not be prevented from doing so. We'll hear from Mr. Cudjoe shortly, but first, here's John Dramani Mahama issuing a challenge to President Akufo-Addo during his Volta region tour.
But it's easy to settle the issue of infrastructure. After all, the president said this election is going to be an election of track records, comparing his track record to my track record. We can settle it easily. Let's have a debate between two of us, the two presidents. Let Nana Akufo-Addo come and sit down. Let me sit down, and let's debate our records.
Now, this challenge came after Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's presentation on Tuesday, during which he said the Akufo-Addo government has a superior record when it comes to infrastructure. The governing New Patriotic Party, however, says a debate of that form is not on the cards at the moment. National organizer Sami Oku said the party will contest this election on their own terms. He spoke on the Pulse.
We want to make one thing clear. The NPP will fight these elections on our own terms. The NPP is not going to fight these elections on the terms of Mr. John Dramani Mahama and that of the NDC. So meaning that you do acknowledge that Dr. Bawumia did make some solid presentation, data-driven. These are not projects that you can just imagine. These are projects that you can feel, you can see, they are tangible. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you something is happening around the Pokwasi interchange area. You don't need someone to tell you that there's something happening around the Tema motorway, the interchange. You also don't need someone to tell you when you use the Abosokai area of the Bechebelamte interchange. You don't need someone to tell you about what is happening of the Tema Pakadan railway line. You see it, you walk through it, you know that there's something happening. You also do not need someone to just lie to you or try to play propaganda. When we say that if you go to Tamale today, they're having their first interchange in Northern Ghana under the NPP's administration, the Sino-Hydro project, where we've cut so. I'm not too sure what Mr. Mahama wants us to do on this one. But as I said, we have our own campaign strategies and we have our own campaign plans. The NPP will go according to our own strategy if the need arises.
Now, this position has been repeated by several NPP officials on other platforms, but Franklin Cudjoe believes the governing party is denying itself an opportunity.
Understand the locus for which or within which or on which the three persons have spoken. except to say that they're actually making it look as if the president does not have a mind of his own. The president, I know, is a very great debater. I mean, he's a smart man. I think it's important that in a competitive political space like the one we have, debates are useful. And I think the NDC's call for a debate goes beyond just infrastructure one. And I do not think that the MPP would say that, I mean, some of the Aslians who have been speaking on behalf of the president would just put towards it his mouth and say, we are not coming. I mean, I think it's a bit self-defeatist. Look, the government has done some very good work, and it's important in the area of the economy. If I were the one speaking for the MPP, this is what I was going to say. Well, everything rises and falls with the economy. Now, let's even begrudgingly accept the IMANI scale, for instance. By the time you were leaving office as NDC, you had challenges with the economy. The economy did not do well. It did under 40% or so. But midterm going to an election before the COVID struck, MPP had done 54.36% on the IMANI scale. If I were a debater, I'll focus on the ingredients that made that happen, rather than run away from a debate that is yet to be had. I think it's a self-defeatist mechanism, and they were consulting me, for which they have to pay, by the way. Now they've employed strategies so which they can get into that debate and do better and do well. So it's a good way to have in a competitive political space like the one we have. And as usual, IMANI and multimedia and maybe any other media space that they deem creditable enough would band together, do this debate. I think it's in the interest of the country.
Now, the chief of Chiraa in the Sunyani West municipality of the Bono region, Ahiagbah, has said they will not deal kindly with anyone who will be involved in acts of violence and abuse of people in the run-up to the December general election. He alleged people are financially induced to rain insults on political opponents while they threaten mayhem. The chief, however, entreated his people not to do the violent bidding of politicians, since same politicians will not have their children around when there is a politically induced conflict. Ahiagbah was speaking during a courtesy call on him by the vice presidential candidate of the NDC, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, and other party executives.
Ghana, yedi mani biaka hubie. Timbe sramo. Mo abedi skamamu. Namutu radio so. Mo didi nipa tem. Namu de moya madwense. Mo ba ko. Abo Ghana my dear. Emparem. Maka we na wi no. Mo dikata. Ne be sra de se. Chiraa mani. Nipa bia wo do ho ba hyesa de we mu no. Mini na nanom ye be yi wo ma. If you ever stop wo Chiraa mani mase. Wo gubru mani mase. Na wo go sake for sia de yo.
Now, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, who is on a two-day tour of the Bono region, said they have plans to add value to the educational system and agriculture, especially cashew production.
Goil Offshore, a subsidiary of the Goil Group, signed a partnership agreement with the American oil production giant ExxonMobil to explore oil in the deep water Cape 3 points. After a few months of signing the agreement, the company has begun work on the data from the field to examine the potential. Managing Director of Goil, Kwame Osei-Prempeh, told Joy Business that Goil is ready to receive a positive news from the team soon after training some local engineers and geologists to support the operation.
Zone is very so much experience in this. So they've collected the seismic data, they've taken it to their office in the US, they are analyzing. So far, we believe that the information they are giving us is good. Then the major benefit to us is that GOIL, we have a subsidiary, GOIL Offshore, we have recruited young, brilliant Ghanaians, engineers, geologists, geological engineers and others who are being trained by Exxon. So technology transfer. So we believe that even at the end of it, if you don't get what you want, we have made an investment in Ghanaians which will go to benefit this country moving forward.
Meanwhile, the company, after ending the year with 105.5 million cedi profit, declared some dividends for shareholders. Here is board chairman Kwame Nabatels.
Declaring that dividend, we said we were involved in a lot of projects which is going to help the company increase its profitability in the future, and the various investments that we have made in those projects.
And thank you for staying with us here on JoyNews Today. Let's go into our first sports story. And the date for the Ghana FA's Congress has generated a lot of talk. Now, yesterday we heard from former Division 1 League Board Chairman Ntofiako, who's expressing his disappointment in the FA for rescheduling the date from August 27 to September 1, the same day that the Court of Arbitration for Sport is expected to give its verdict on the case between Wilfred Osei-Kukwu, known as Palmer, and the Ghana FA. Mr. Albert Kome is a former executive committee member of the FA who's CEO of 11 Wonders. He has no problem with the September 1 date.
Unless they can tell me that they are very sure that come September 1st, the decision is coming.
Okay.
The decision we cannot control as to when it will come. And when it comes, we are football people. We know how to manage tensions. We know how to manage this thing. When we are there for business, we concentrate and do the business.
Okay.
After all, the decision will be up to the lawyers of the various parties.
Okay.
So, in their opinion, do you think that in the course of the Congress, they are going to put that one there? I don't think so. That is business for the day, and we need to go and do the needful. And I think that will happen. So our appeal to all clubs to get ready for us to go to Congress, so that it will pave way for us to do our football business, rather than waiting for CAF decisions, which we don't even have control whether it will come today or tomorrow. We need to do certain things. One of them is to go to Congress. So I don't see on the date what is the guarantee that every CAF is going to deliver the decision, having noticed what has happened. The postponement kept coming. So we need to concentrate and do the needful. So for me, I don't think that he has a case. Let's go to Congress and let's do the necessary thing that we have to do. That is what I think. I don't think that it is good for us to wait. Does it mean that even when we change the date, would we know the next day that CAF will bring?
Let's talk about Accra Hearts of Oak's Academy construction. Now, the first phase of the project is 80% complete, and this is according to Togbe Drake-Chibe IV. He spoke to Joy Sport.
Hearts of Oak gave the local contractor, KA Estate Company Limited, 4 months to complete the first phase of construction for the Pobiman Academy project. Work began on the site early last month, and it appears the contractor could hand over the facility to the Phobians by the first week of October, according to project manager Togbe Drake-Chibe IV. He says 80% of the agreement reached has been done.
On paper, he is supposed to pack out from here on the 1st of October. That's if nothing changes. By 1st of October, he should be leaving site. But from what he's doing or where he's gotten to now, it is very possible he could finish before the 1st of October. As much as management is concerned, and I would say being the liaison between the contractor and then management too, I don't think we've encountered any challenges, at least for now. There's not been any. And then on the part of the contractor too, he's also not actually made any comment of such a thing. Whichever way, I am always here with him, and if there are challenges, which person, if he has some, to definitely I would know. But from what we see, we don't, or we've not encountered any natural or I would say an unnatural kind of. We've not experienced any kind of challenges.
Work done so far appears to be far from the 80% he claims, but he explained the key responsibilities handed to the engineer.
What he's been doing, or the mandate we've given to him, is to complete all the foundation works for the 8 individual blocks that the academy has, being it the hostel blocks, being in the dining facility, being in the gym, the training center, and the semi-detached houses. So from what we can see, as I said, he's about 80% through. He's just level filling and then casting the slab, and then he's virtually done with.
Well, that's it for sports for now, but of course there's a bigger dose at 2 p.m. when I bring you Sports Today. You stay right here. JoyNews Today continues. Entertainment news comes up next. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport.